G'day there guys and girls, and welcome to episode 4 of KLR mods. And today what we're going to do is detail how to replace the front sprocket on your KLR 650. Today's difficulty is classed as Weekend Warrior, so not overly too difficult, but it does require a bit of a mechanical mind. Of course, essential parts you will need for this tutorial would be your sprocket of choice. I've got a 16 tooth here, of course stock is 15, and also your socket as well, which is a 27mm. Other tools we'll be needing are as listed. Your KLR does come with a 27mm, but I do prefer the socket. Another tool would be your torque wrench, not 100% necessary, but it is kind of recommended. So let's jump to it and get to the tutorial. So of course the first thing we'll need to do would be take off the front cover, covering up the sprocket there. So just undo the 3 bolts, they are 10mm, and remove that little plastic case. So once you remove that guy, it does expose the sprocket of course. Then what we're going to do is open up this little washer here. It does lock the bolt essentially, so we're going to need to flatten that washer out. So once you flatten out that washer, it's going to look something like this if you're dodgy like I am. So yeah, just flatten it out the best you can so the bolt doesn't get caught on it. So now comes the hard part, getting that little nut off. What we're going to do here is swing your leg over the bike with your breaker bar and 27mm and put your foot hard on that brake. Then after you've done that, you can put your socket on and loosen away. Now, as you can see here, I am struggling quite a fair bit. It'd probably be a lot easier if you had 2 people doing it. As you can see, my little socket fell off, but it did loosen the bolt off quite fine.
Very tight.
Once you've done that, next thing we're going to do is loosen the axle bolt. So yeah, with your pliers, just undo that little clip there and slide it on out. So once you've got that little guy off, you can get your breaker bar with 27mm socket and just loosen off that little nut there. Don't need to take it all the way off, just loosen it. So next up, we're going to get our 12mm spanner and just loosen up that chain. We're going to need to loosen it up fairly loose so we can actually get that little sprocket off without getting it caught on the chain. So once we've done that, we can remove our front sprocket. So take off the nut and washer, put them aside. You will need them later, so don't lose them. And as you can see here, as per usual, I am having a little bit of trouble. What I actually found out was that if you do drop the chain all the way off on that back sprocket, it does make things a lot easier to get the sprocket off. So yeah, after you've done that, things become a lot easier and you can pretty much just slide that sprocket off and fit the new one. So of course here you can see, comparing the 2 sprockets, obviously the old one's the dirty one, there is a little bit of wear on it, and also it is a little bit smaller. Stock teeth would be 15, the new one is 16, so a bit better for highway cruising. So fitting up the new sprocket is a pretty easy affair, just the reverse of taking it off really, there's nothing too special about it. Fitting up the sprocket may take a little bit of wriggling, but yeah, eventually it will go on.
Like that.
So once you've got that all wriggled on, what you can do is place your washer back on and also the nut. Just do it up finger tight for now, and we'll do it up tighter with a socket later. So of course, once you've done that, we can refit the chain at the rear. So just sling the chain back over that cog. It probably won't go on all the way, being that the cog is slightly larger. But yeah, just get on the best you can, and then we can roll the wheel around to get it to sit. So once you've done seating the chain, what we can do is just tighten up the chain roughly to what the specifications say. There's no real need to get it too precise at the moment, being that we'll get to that stage later. Once you've done that, we'll tighten up the nut again, same way you've done it last time. So foot on the brake, and instead of loosening, of course, we're going to tighten. Of course, using your torque wrench with your 27mm on there, just have at it. Of course, being that we're using a torque wrench, we're going to set that to a specific setting. So that setting would be 98Nm. You can convert that to foot-pounds if you want, which is roughly 72. Of course, the next thing would be flattening out that washer again. Being that I'm dodgy, I'm going to use my drive extension and also a hammer. Just flatten that out best you can to what it originally was. So yeah, once you've done that, it's going to look roughly something like mine if you're dodgy, and if you're neat, it's going to look something like it was when it was brand new. So after you've done that, we can proceed to tighten our chain. So 12mm spanner, of course, and then what we want to do is tighten it to about 35 to 45mm of slack. Some people think this is too little slack. So yeah, just make your own judgment there. Of course, making sure that we've got it equal on both sides using that gauge system. And then once you've done that, lock up the bolts and get to the axle nut as well. Using a torque wrench with the 27mm on there again, what we're going to do is torque that to 98Nm. As I said, that's roughly 72 foot-pounds. Of course, the next step would be to put your pin back in. If it doesn't fit like mine did, you can just rotate that nut there to expose the holes. Once you've got the pin in, you can proceed to push the little arms apart just to get it to sit nice and securely. After that's done, of course, what we can do is refit our plastic cover. Pretty much the same as taking it off, just in reverse. So put those 10mm bolts back in and tighten them up with your socket. Be sure not to do them too tight, as you may crack that plastic. So yeah, I don't know what the specific torque setting is, but yeah, I don't have a torque wrench that goes that low probably. So yeah, there we have it, all done, and you've successfully installed your sprocket. So yeah, just check your work and make sure everything's nice and tight. So yeah, all done guys, it's that easy. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the box below, and be sure to rate and also subscribe if you haven't already. And I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.